12 minutes before midnight, you're standing on a rooftop you didn't know existed yesterday morning, and there's blood drying on your sleeve that isn't yours. The woman who got you this far is 2 floors below, and she isn't getting up. Across the roof, your brother is on his knees beside the elevator housing, a gun pressed against the back of his head. The man holding it works for the lawyer standing in front of you with one hand out, palm up, waiting for the black ring on your finger. Take it off, carry it to the terminal behind him, and say the words that surrender it, and your brother walks. Leave it on until midnight, and $20 billion becomes legally yours. 24 hours ago, none of these people existed to you. 24 hours earlier, you're a maintenance technician, 3 weeks into a contract servicing elevators and fire systems in Voss Tower, the kind of job where you know a building's service corridors better than the people who work in its offices. A man in a gray suit finds you in the basement electrical room and reads your name off a list. Elias Voss, the reclusive owner of Voss Dynamics, died Tuesday on the top floor he hadn't left in 6 years, and named you, a stranger, his sole heir. 40 minutes later, you're in a conference room on the 60th floor with 4 other people and an estate lawyer named Hale. He keeps it simple. $20 billion. Yours if you're alive. Wearing this ring, verified at the estate terminal. At midnight tonight. Miss that? And 4 other names on this list split $50 million each. Hale slides the ring across the table. The first attack before your hand closes around it, the window behind him turns white and caves inward. The shot takes the chair beside you. Empty, because the man who'd have been sitting there stepped out 2 minutes ago. A second shot punches into the wall behind where your head just was. A woman in a gray blazer is already hauling you out of your seat. She runs security for the estate, and she's heading for the marked exit. You pull her the other way, down a maintenance corridor instead, because the marked exit runs past floor-to-ceiling glass on 3 sides, and whoever's out there still has a line of sight on it. She doesn't argue. You take the service stairwell down, and you're the one reading the floor plates, because the stairwell numbering doesn't match the elevator numbering, and one wrong door dumps you into the lobby atrium, wide open, glass walls, exactly where a rifle would want you. Behind you, in the conference room doorway, a man in a tailored suit watches the chaos without moving. He's the only person at that table who looked at the ring like it belonged to him. The security chief doesn't know who he is to you yet. Neither do you, except that he's Elias Voss's nephew. A car is waiting at the loading dock, armored, company plates, a driver she trusts. 6 minutes later, crossing the lower deck of the river bridge, a delivery truck swings across both lanes ahead and stops. She reverses hard, but a second car blocks the ramp behind you. 2 men climb out of the truck wearing gray coveralls, the same uniform your company issues, which means someone with access to your employer's records picked your disguise before you ever put it on. She reaches for her weapon and tells you to get down. Instead, you look past her, at the maintenance gate 30 feet ahead, the one crews use to drop onto the lower pedestrian walkway when the bridge is blocked. You replaced that gate's lock cylinder 2 months ago on a different job, and company-issue cylinders only take 1 key. A key still clipped to your belt from this morning's shift. You tell her to drive at the gate, not away from it. She doesn't ask why. The car punches through, drops onto the walkway below, and buys 90 seconds, while the men in coveralls climb back over the railing the long way. It's the first decision tonight. That was yours. She gets you into a service apartment the estate keeps 2 blocks away. Off the books, used for executives who don't want to check into hotels. For the first time since the conference room, nobody's shooting. While she checks the locks, she finally explains the rest of the will, the part Hale rushed past. There's a sealed records floor 2 levels below the estate terminal. The only way it stays sealed is if you, alive, walk to that terminal before midnight, take the ring off your own hand, set it on the reader, and say the words that confirm you're giving up the inheritance. If the ring comes off any other way, pulled off by force, cut off, or taken off a body, The terminal reads it as a failed surrender, and the floor opens automatically. Same thing happens if midnight passes with the ring still on you. Either way, the files get out. The only outcome where they stay buried is you, alive, choosing it, out loud, at that terminal. Then the door opens with a key she didn't hand out, and your brother walks in. 5:46. You haven't spoken in 2 years. He looks at the ring on your hand and says, "You have no idea what that company did. Your mother died in a plant fire 19 years ago. Bakersfield, a faulty valve, an accident, according to the official report." Theo never accepted that. He spent 3 years tracking down a supervisor who survived the fire, who told him, off the record, that the valve had been flagged for replacement 6 months before it failed, and the repair order was canceled. Theo's had that canceled order for a year. He never told you, because every time he brought it up, you told him to let it go, that digging through a dead company's paperwork wouldn't bring her back, and that it was costing him his job, his marriage, his relationship with you. And now their lawyer just handed you a ring, Theo says, and $20 billion. And 12 hours from now, you're either rich or you're the reason somebody finally reads that order. The ring. The canceled repair order has one signature on it, Elias Voss, 15 years before he disappeared from public life, back when he still ran the company's legal department himself. Theo spent 3 years trying to understand why a man worth $20 billion would personally kill a maintenance order at a plant he barely visited. Maybe now you both do. Elias didn't choose you at random. Whatever connects you to that fire, he built his entire exit around it, and around making sure the only way to stop those files from getting out is for you to choose it yourself, in person, at a terminal Hale controls access to. The leak, the buzzer goes again. It's the nephew from the conference room. His name is Damon, and he's furious, not at Hale, at you. He says he was supposed to be one of the 4 backup names, 50 million if you didn't survive. And sometime in the last month, his name came off that list. He's been hunted twice tonight too, and the only person who benefits from both of you, dead, and a clean list is whoever controls the list. You don't fully trust him, but he's the first person tonight who's asked why instead of just reacting. So you run a test. You tell the security chief quietly that you want to leave through the parking garage. You tell Damon separately that you're heading down to the subway entrance on the corner. 8 minutes later, gunfire opens up in the parking garage stairwell, the exit nobody but her knew you were taking. She doesn't deny it when you ask. She tells you Hale came to her 11 months ago after a contract payment bounced and offered her 50 million if tonight ended a certain way, in a certain place, close enough to midnight that it would look right. She doesn't get to finish. 3 of Hale's men come through the stairwell door behind her, not to rescue her, to clean up a loose end. She's still talking when the first shot hits her. In the scramble, Theo goes down, and by the time you and Damon get up, he's gone. Taken. Not killed, because his death wouldn't help Hale at all. If Theo dies, or if you die, or if anyone rips that ring off either of you, the terminal still reads a failed surrender, and the floor still opens. The only outcome that buries those files is you, alive, walking to that terminal and giving up the inheritance with your own hands. Theo is leverage to make you do exactly that. One of the men leaves a phone behind, screen lit, a floor plan of the tower's roof access, and a message that just says, "Terminal room. Before midnight, bring the ring." You and Damon take the maintenance tunnel under the block, the same tunnel system you've spent 3 weeks mapping for fire suppression work, back toward the tower's sub-basement. It surfaces near the service elevator, the only one in the building that still runs on a manual key override during lockdown. You've had that key clipped to your belt since this morning. The roof. The service elevator opens onto a hatch 1 floor below the terminal room. Through the grate, You can see Theo on his knees by the elevator housing, and Hale standing over him, checking his watch. Damon doesn't follow you out. Instead, he drops back down into the shaft, finds the breaker panel for the service elevator, and jams the override, locking the car at this floor so none of Hale's men below can ride it up. It buys you time, nothing more. You climb out alone. Hale doesn't look surprised. He's calm, the way he was in the conference room, and he tells you the terminal room is 2 doors away. Walk in, take the ring off, set it on the reader, say the words, and your brother walks. Or keep it on until midnight, and the floor opens anyway, with him standing right above it. 12 minutes. Hale's man keeps the gun on Theo. 2 doors, Hale says again. That's all it takes. Say the words, and he walks. Theo looks at you, and he doesn't ask you to save him. Don't, he says. I mean it. It's the same thing he was saying 2 years ago, just in different words, every time you told him to drop the investigation. You walk past Hale toward the terminal room door. He doesn't stop you. He can't. Not without you choosing to give the inheritance up yourself. And standing here arguing is the only leverage he has left. At 11:59, the door locks behind you. The terminal light turns green. At midnight, the file room doors release 2 floors down, and on the roof, a single shot is muffled by 12 floors of concrete. Consequence. By morning, federal investigators are inside the records floor, and Hale is in custody by noon, his own signature on the canceled repair orders cover memo. Damon's name never makes it back onto any list, and after what he saw on that roof, he doesn't ask for it to. The estate transfers to you by the end of the week. $20 billion. Verified. Irreversible. You sign the paperwork in a borrowed office, alone, and you think about a man who hid from a fire he caused for 19 years, and a brother who spent 3 of those years trying to get one piece of paper read by someone who mattered. At midnight, you became worth $20 billion. 1 minute later, there was no one left to spend it on.